Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today is kind of like a response video to another YouTuber, DadIsaJoke. He did a series, well, he did like 2 videos so far, kind of talking about this. One was kind of like a follow-up video, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the subject and what he was talking about. And that is really just kind of comes down to what is Atari today. Now, I've kind of dabbled in this subject a few times, talking about, the whole nostalgia factor and, the old versus the new. And so pretty much what he was getting at was he was talking about how people are just quick to slam the Atari brand today, or the Atari today, as being, this isn't my Atari, or they're just shoving their logo on random stuff to make money, and it's all business at this point. And he kind of had some of his points that he was kind of countering them or whatever, just addressing what they were saying. And these were people talking on the Atari Age forum. Now, the way I looked at it as, it's kind of interesting to think about when you say, what is Atari today? Because Atari came out in the late 70s. It was, it started off as a company that was selling arcade video games, moved into the home gaming network. I mean, our world, we got the Atari 2600 that came out, at that time called the VCS. And, they started making games, great games, and, they spawned off companies like Activision that started making even better games. But, and of course there was other history to with the Atari as well, making things like Chuck E. Cheese a reality, all that type of stuff, right? We had Pong, we had all the classics. Oh, almost lost my joystick there. We had a lot of classics, and so they kind of, spearheaded a lot of the video game revolution up until the crash. And of course it had all its competitors. It had the Coleco, the Intellivision, and eventually we got into the mid 80s, and then Nintendo came along. So it's got its little history there. And of course the Atari tried to revive itself a few times. I'm thinking of things like the 7800 when that came out. And Atari was a completely different company by then. I don't even think I don't even know if any of the original people from the original company were even running the thing anymore. And then little products were coming out here and there. We kept seeing the logo show up throughout time, throughout the 90s, 2000s. It wasn't much. It was on like compilation discs, play Atari classics. I think I still have it right here, things like this. Well, this is more Activision, but I mean, it's Atari games, things like that. They started popping up. And by that point, we kind of figured the Atari company itself is kind of, flatlined. It's living off its nostalgia. So now you fast forward to today. Atari came back in a new way. Came back with new products. It's been selling things like special edition cartridges, which, kind of been stirring up a little heat. Some people were kind of on the fence for them. I guess the price was the sticking point. There's that, I can't remember now what it was. It was some kind of anniversary edition, something of cartridges, and they were going for like $1,000. And they're just glorified original cartridges, like redone, but the same game on there, looking pretty. And so that was happening, and of course the new Atari VCS, which I still kind of don't like the name, because I still consider the original Atari, the 2600, I consider that the VCS, but that's another story. So they call this new one the VCS. I never really got excited about it, because once I started to learn about it after they were talking, when they were promoting the thing before it even hit the shelves, it being more like a PC-driven Linux box or something like that, or I don't know the guts. I'm not that technical when it comes to what goes inside the machine. But from what I understand, a lot of people bought it as kind of a cheap computer to mess around with, put their own ROMs on it and things like that. I don't know why it just didn't pique my interest. It didn't seem like something that I would really pursue. But, you know, people have bought them and they're having fun with them. And it kind of does bring that little bit of nostalgia back. But other than that, I mean, some of what Dad is a Joke was talking about, where people kept pointing out that Atari was literally throwing their logos on anything. Cryptocurrency, hotels, had like an Atari hotel. Like, I remember seeing pictures of it. And it's like, what does that have to do with Atari? And you know, it kind of harkens back to even back in the day when Atari had other products out there. They didn't just have the video game stuff. So, and you know, putting their logo on things is not something new. We have it on T-shirts. We had it on T-shirts in the 80s. People wore logos on their T-shirts, on their shoes, on their hats. You know, putting the logo out there. It's a marketing thing. But at the same time, you kind of have to make sense when you want to start putting your logo out there, and you kind of make sense what the company's trying to do. It makes me think about like the ColecoVision and some of the history back then when Coleco started off as the Connecticut Leather Company. I believe that's the original name, and then it got kind of like chopped into Coleco. I don't know. There's a history there. Anyways, they started off selling leather products, and then they went into they saw, like, you know, I don't know if there was an in-between product, but I know when the ColecoVision was released, they worked with, you know, some engineers and stuff and got the ColecoVision created, because they were like, hey, look at this video game market, it's booming, let's do it. And they jumped on board with this machine, and then they went from there to Cabbage Patch Kids dolls. So it just seems like their identity just was like, we'll jump around, we'll do whatever. I don't even know what happened to the ColecoVision brand anymore. I heard stuff like maybe Collector Vision Phoenix or whatever has the rights to it, or I don't know. I'm not sure where the logo went on that one, or the brand or the name. But, you know, Atari was kind of doing similar things. They were like, well, we're going to put out a system, then we're going to put out some products, but they need to kind of focus, maybe stay a little bit more towards what people know them for. I think the hotel thing was kind of weird. The cryptocurrency, definitely weird. And I don't even want to get into cryptocurrency because I don't understand any of it. I don't want to understand any of it. I don't really care for it. And just because Atari got involved in it, or this new Atari, whatever you want to call them now, they're Atari. They're just not the old Atari. But anyways, the fact that they're going to throw their logo on something like that, or get involved in something like that, never going to interest people like me who just loved the brand for what it was. We loved it for playing Pitfall. We loved it for playing, you know, Space Invaders. We loved Atari throughout the years. We loved them in the arcades. We loved playing Pole Position. You know, that's what we all loved about Atari. So, yeah, you can put their logo on an alarm clock. You can put their logo on a rocket that's going to fly to the moon. It's not going to interest people like me anyways. I mean, if that's what's going to take for them to generate revenue, then I guess that's what it's going to take. But it seems weird that they would just kind of not want to stay focused in an industry. Now that I'm saying it, though, I'm starting to think that it is a tough industry, though. You know, the retro gaming industry, if that's what they're targeting, if they're going after the retro, because I don't see how they're going after the modern gamers, like the PlayStation, the Xbox gamers, because they're not going to give a crap about the Atari VCS. So I'm assuming they're looking towards people like me, the nostalgia people. So you would think that they would want to stay on target. Now, there is a product that they did release, the 50th anniversary edition. I've heard a lot about it. It's really cool product. It's similar to this type of idea where you can get all the classic games and you know, it's not just played on the Atari VCS. It's, you know, it's on, I think it may be Steam, PC. You can play it on your Xbox and all the other stuff. So a lot of people were talking about how great that product is. I think it's on the Switch too. I don't know. It's probably a cross-platform game. I even saw it on Amazon the other day, or yesterday. I was shopping on Amazon. I was looking for a book, the programming Atari 2600 book, and that one popped up in the feed, like, do you want to buy it off of Amazon? I'm like, oh, okay, but I didn't. Anyways, yeah, I just thought that it's a really cool product. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. Maybe something I'll pick up at some point, but I'm not sure. But that's where they need to keep their brand. That's where they need to stay focused. The other stuff just seems kind of like, yeah, it's money making. Now, I did kind of make a comment, or I did make a comment on DadIsaJoke's video, where I did say, you know, if that's what it's going to take to generate the income, then to launch their Atari, keep their Atari launched, keep the machine launched, get developers to develop new games, then I guess it's kind of better than essentially asking for money or begging for money or Kickstarters or, you know, all those things that you can try to just generate money. You know, if selling their logo to put it on certain things can help fund what they're actually trying to do and stay on topic, stay on target, that's cool. But if it's just a pure money-making thing, like, you get a logo, you get a logo, you get a logo, we're just going to shovel in the money because we're greedy. If that's the case, then yeah, that's kind of sucky. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to like kind of point that out, talk about it a little bit. It's an interesting topic. What is Atari? What is it to you? Is this modern Atari still your Atari? Or is your Atari the 1970s Atari? Or the 80s Atari? Or even the 90s? Was there an Atari in the 90s? Kind of made a comeback. Anyways, let me know what you think. Throw some comments down below. I'm going to leave the link to the video for DadIsaJoke for you to check it out. And yeah, we'll talk to you later, and hope you subscribe.